Welcome to The Formed Life. I'm Virginia Kujabi, your host, and this is a podcast for followers of Jesus who long to be shaped by his love and be formed more into his likeness. We will explore spiritual rhythms and have honest conversations and stories that root us in the Trinity, renew our hearts, and transform how we live in relationship with God and others. So grab your coffee, tea, or even LaCroix. I know we have some Diet Coke drinkers in this community. No judgment. Lean in and let's dive into the spiritual conversation. Welcome to The Formed Life. I'm Virginia Kujabi, your host, and friends, I am so excited. We have a very special guest with us today. I have been looking forward to this conversation and sharing it with you. This is my dear friend, Virginia Boyd. Welcome, Virginia.
Thank you.
So Virginia is a family friend. She's actually the daughter of one of my dearest friends, Stacy Boyd. And Stacy and I met in a season where it's interesting because I was part of a community and I was like, why am I a part of this? And the thing that has lasted from that season is my friendship with your mom. And so it's like, I feel like God literally had me be in a certain season so that I would meet your mom and your family would be friends with my family. And then when James was born, Virginia was our nanny. Were you 2 years or 3?
2, I think. Yeah.
So she was James's nanny when he was just a little guy. I don't even think he had turned 1. I think when you started, he might have been like,
he was still a baby.
9 or 10 months old. And the reason that she was such an amazing hire was that you are one of 6 children.
Yes.
The oldest.
Yes.
And I didn't really train Virginia. I remember like saying, this is where we keep the diapers and this is where you would give him a bath and this is where the food is. But like, so I showed her like how to navigate my house, but I did not have to train you because you had helped your mom with all your siblings. So we were sad to see her go, but she moved on to college.
I did.
And a really incredible internship. And so I wanted to have you on, Virginia, for a few reasons. One, just your education focus is spiritual formation and ministry. And so we've had conversations and I'm like, this would be so great to share. And then also your generation, the generation that you're 20 years old. And I think there's a lot that people don't know about your generation. And I see God moving in really profound ways in your generation. And so I wanted to have a conversation about your spiritual journey, your spiritual formation, and kind of where you see God is at work. So welcome.
Thank you.
Will you tell everybody a little bit about your college program and what you're studying? And
so I'm currently at Grace where I'm studying biblical studies with a focus on nonprofit management. Hopefully I'm able to run a Christian nonprofit one day. That's my goal. I love people. I love helping people. I love being able to see children and high schoolers and middle schoolers be able to like know who God is truly and like know him in his heart. I think that's just like such an amazing thing to be able to do. Actually, one of my students, he decided that he wanted to give his life to Christ last Friday, and that was like amazing.
So in addition to being in college and being a ministry major, Virginia also serves at a local nonprofit with students, kind of childcare, kind of student ministries. That's wonderful that somebody just trusted Jesus. And that's amazing, Virginia. I love it. Well, let's dive into like the kind of this idea of spiritual formation and just Gen Z, you're 20. I think there's a lot that we could unpack there. But what would you say at 20, what do you think is maybe the most, like the biggest misconception about your generation and following Jesus?
I think it kind of goes 2 ways. I think for us, social media is just like a big part of like Gen Z and who we are. We're on our phones all the time. I feel like we've been able to see Christian leaders and just Christian people be able to like see their testimony and them transforming God. But also part of that is they're not always showing like the bad parts. So it's like coming to God is just like easy and life is going to be great, easy and breezy, when that's not what it is. Like sometimes there is spiritual warfare. There's like going to be a pruning season, which is like probably one of the hardest things you'll go through. And it will have you like rethink everything because you're battling your flesh. So I think we see an easy part of people's testimonies. And then we just think, okay, coming to Christ is going to be the easiest thing ever. everything's going to change in this one time, this one day. I'm going to accept Christ, and then everything's great. Which it is. And I would say like giving your life to Christ is like better than anything the world can offer, but it's not an easy process. If that makes sense.
I like that. That's really interesting perspective. And I think also with that, social media, it's a lot is curated.
Yeah.
So there are these like Christian influencers or these big pastors with massive platforms, and everything is like super polished and heavily produced, and kind of in that way. And like to what you're saying is, but it's also missing that piece of maybe when life isn't so polished or not curated, or there isn't the production team. Like, what is the faith or that spiritual journey like when the cameras are off, maybe? Yeah. I like that. Thanks for sharing that. What does spiritual formation actually look like in your everyday life as a college student? And then also not necessarily like an ideal version, right? Like we don't need the polished or the curated, but like truly, what would you say, like in your relationship with God, like what is the day-to-day like, and what are some spiritual practices that you like?
It's definitely like first and foremost surrendering every day to God. Like I feel like I could read the Bible, I can pray, and I can worship. But if God's not at the center of that, and if my heart posture is not to serve God, then I'm not going to get anything out of that time with him. So it's first and foremost surrendering my days to God and submitting to him. But also a big part of my spiritual formation has been prayer. Like I've learned to pray and what prayer looks like. I feel like I'm such a person who I like talk a lot. So then when I'm going through things, I go and I run to people when I think God has really shown me, like, why are you not running to my feet first? Like run, sit at my feet first, because I have the answer for you. So it's prayer and surrender, and then going in and reading my Bible and worshiping.
Okay, for everyone that's listening and you're not on YouTube, if you're just hearing this, I want to just like say I'm like a little bit tearing up because I'm like, this is the young woman that was nannying my son. Like this is the woman who has such love for the Lord and fervor for surrender. Like that was actually not what I thought you were going to say. The first thing that you're talking about is like surrendering to the Lord, and just that posture of humility and dependence and reliance. And I love that. And it makes me like even happier that you were with James in his like really little years. That is awesome. What would you say, so as a college student, what would you say are the biggest challenges that you and your peers are facing in this season?
Yeah, I would say a lot of it has to do with comparison and loneliness. I think those go hand in hand. And I think it also has to do with the social media aspects, where we see a part of people's lives. Like you said, the lights and the cameras and the action and the curated part of people's lives. And we're like, okay, great. They're here at 20. I'm not here at 20. So what is going on? What's wrong with me? Why is God not having me on this same plan? And on why am I not where these people are? And it's like, okay, no, God has a purpose and a plan for all of our lives. And it's not going to look the same as everybody's.
Yeah.
And I think when you compare yourself so much, it says in the Bible that comparison kills joy. Like when you're comparing yourself so much to other people, you're then becoming envious. And then you're like, I want what this person has, and you're never content. So then you're now isolating yourself and you're now lonely because you're not enjoying where you are right now in life. And I feel like I've had to learn that just to like sit where God has me at, because I won't be here again. Like I won't have the chance to do this again. I won't be 20 again. So like, where does God have me at? Am I enjoying every day that he gives me? Like, it's such a gift to have that we serve a God that has a purpose and a plan for each one of our lives. So if we just like focus on that, that's something that's so beautiful that like you can just sit in and have joy in.
So comparison and loneliness, you think, are like the biggest challenges. Have you had peers, whether college students or otherwise, like people your age, like friends, have you guys talked about that loneliness piece, or is that something that you kind of like hold on and isolate? Like, is it something that you talk about, or is it something that you just kind of all know you're battling this loneliness?
I think at first it was like we all knew that we were going through it, but I think the beauty of like being in college and being in a ministry program is that we're all going through loneliness in ministry, because it was our first year. And like you being in ministry, it's like something we're like so excited for. And it's so great because you're helping people to come and learn Jesus, come and know Jesus. But it's like you can only pour out so much of you. And if you're not getting fed, you're missing out on what God is trying to teach you. And I think we have now been like much more open to being like, okay, this is kind of hard. Like this is not everything we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It is really hard. And being able to like admit that and then hear others admit it is such like a beauty behind that.
Yeah. It sounds like with comparison, it almost seems like a bona fide job hazard of being part of Gen Z. Is like this is going to happen because of the social media influence and so much of the technology that you guys have been raised with. For you, I know you've talked a lot about like some of your peers, but for you personally, how do you overcome that challenge of comparison? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah. I definitely lean on my community, and sometimes it just is like shutting my phone off. Like there have been times where I've had to shut my phone off and like go into my word because it's like, okay, I'm not at the place where I see other people at, and that's okay because I serve a God with a purpose and a plan.
Yeah.
So like, it's like recentering and redirecting my mind. It's like, okay, where's my heart at?
Yeah.
Like if Jesus is not at the center of my heart, then something's off. I need to go, I need to pray, and I need to figure out how to recenter it. And it's like, okay, I need to like have joy for those around me. So like, okay, they are where they are. I am where I am. And there's beauty in the like places that we are. But also like, I don't know what that person's going through. This season of their life might suck. And I'm envious and jealous of that. But I just think that, okay, God has me in this time, in this plan. Redirect my mind, redirect my heart, see what's at the center. Because a lot of time when I'm comparing myself, God's not at the center.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I think another way to like sort of attack comparison, if you will, is gratitude.
Yeah.
Like giving God thanks in all things. I actually was just speaking about this recently, that the more we give thanks, the more we see God's gifts in our life. And sometimes when we're focused on gifts in other people's lives or things that we want, we miss that like, oh, it might not be the gifts that I'm praying for right now or the things that I want right now, but God's fingerprints are all over my story and there are gifts. And the more we thank God for those gifts, it's almost like our spiritual lenses get cleaned off and we can see, oh, God is doing things in my life. And there are good gifts. In the verses says every good and perfect gift comes from the Lord. And sometimes I think we don't have the eyes to see those because comparison can be. And I'll just say my generation and your generation, I think comparison is a challenge probably for every generation for maybe different reasons. Like I think in my generation, it's a lot about like milestones and like at this age, you should be married and this age, you should have babies and this age, you should buy your first house and then you should, you know, whatever the thing is. And so there's a lot of like kind of like mile markers, if you will, in the journey, and social media definitely plays into that. But I think that's a very human struggle, like a natural thing. And I definitely think your generation has a unique challenge because of the social media and because so much technology was really shared with you at such a young age. So I don't want to minimize it, but I think that's kind of a universal human struggle is that comparison. And also if someone has what you want, how easy it is to like focus on that and not what God has given us or, you know, what he's entrusted us with. But thanks for sharing that. So comparison and loneliness are challenges for you personally, and then also kind of for your generation. Thanks for sharing that. So for someone who, and again, this conversation with you today came from the last time you were here hanging out with James. I think you were were you reading that book, Celebration of Christian Discipline by Richard Foster? And that's why I was like, well, I guess I was your age when I read it in college. I was at a Bible school studying. My minor is actually biblical studies. But it was just so cool to see that connection and hear about your journey and that spiritual formation, like being formed like Jesus is on your heart. And it's a goal. It's part of your journey. I love that. For someone who is in their early 20s right now, and they want to grow closer in their relationship with God, but maybe they're feeling either inconsistent or they're feeling overwhelmed. What would you, and actually, let me back it up before we go to that part. If you were speaking to somebody who was struggling with comparison and struggling with loneliness, and they wanted to grow in their relationship with God, what would you share with them?
I would say, firstly, sit at the feet of Jesus. Like, sit there, hear what he's saying to you. And then, like, whatever you're comparing, like, know that Jesus has you on your own plan. He has a purpose for your life. He has a plan for your life. I've been saying that a lot, but I think that's something that I discovered and that is so beautiful. Like, he has a purpose and a plan for everyone's life. And just because your plan or your purpose doesn't look like that other person's, doesn't mean where God isn't taking you. Where God is taking you isn't as beautiful or as great. So, like, sit at his feet and hear what he's saying to you, because he's trying to teach you something during this time or during this season. And what the person he's trying to create you into, you're missing out on it because you're just looking at what other people have and like where you want to be at. But also like lean on somebody, tell somebody what you're going through. I feel like that's a very big part, like leaning on people around you. People to hold you accountable, but also people to tell you like, hey, you're like in the wrong is very important too. I feel like that's what I see a lot with you and my mom's relationship. Like, you can lean on each other and you can pray for each other, but you can also be like, okay, maybe let's take a few steps back. Let's like observe this, like in all of it.
Yes.
And like, they give you another perspective of like, okay, let's sit, let's reverse. Where God has you is great and where God has you is wonderful. So like, let's sit here. Let's see what he's doing in your life here.
I like that. And they actually call your generation the anxious generation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anxiety, like more so probably than ever in history. If somebody were struggling, like they felt overwhelmed or they were inconsistent and they wanted to grow, but like that anxiety was almost like keeping them from connecting more with God. What would you share with someone who's struggling with anxiety and feeling overwhelmed in their spiritual life?
I feel like I've struggled with that a lot too, where I've had to like, okay, take a step back. Like my dad tells me all the time, like that fear isn't from the Lord. Like what is from the Lord is very clear. He tells you it in his word. I mean, anxious about your relationship with him is not it. So take a step back and like breathe, because God never told you to come to him all together, all put up, all perfect.
Yeah.
Like he has a plan for your life, but I think we also see it in like the story of Mary and Martha. We see like Martha going around and she's doing all these things and she's setting up for him and she's cooking for him. And she's like, I'm doing all these things for you, but you're sitting over here and she's sitting at your feet. And this just is not right. Like she should be helping me. But like how many of us treat our relationship with God like that? Like I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you.
Yeah.
But this person over here, they're not doing the same thing. They're not putting in the same effort. Why is this? Like, why are things not going my way when Jesus literally just wants you to sit here, sit at his feet, listen to him, listen to his voice. So like, sit down, relax. It's okay. Take a deep breath in and out. And like, also go and find somebody that's further in their relationship with God than you. They give the best advice. They can tell you how to connect with God. They can become like your spiritual parents, which I've had to like find other than my parents. Both of my parents are in ministry.
Yeah.
But going and like finding other adults and other people who are further in their relationship with God is such a beautiful thing. So like sit, breathe. God is just asking you to come and sit at his feet and he's taking care of the rest.
I love that. Something actually a few weeks ago on the podcast, we talked about abiding and John 15, where Jesus says, if you remain in me and I remain in you, you'll bear much fruit. And he says, apart from me, you can do nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's that reminder of like, we bring ourselves to the equation, but everything else that God is bringing to the equation.
Yeah.
And the reminder that like, there's nothing we can do to make God love us more.
Yes.
And there's nothing we can do to make him love us less. So if we're feeling anxious in our relationship with God, likely we're feeling like, I should be doing this. I should be more consistent. I should be reading my Bible more or meditating or journaling or praying, whatever the practice is. And not realizing that like those are invitations, those practices are invitations to intimacy, but they are not a to-do list.
Yeah.
They're not boxes to check off. And I do think that some of the anxiousness comes from the technology and the social media. And there's like a lot of things that contribute to it. But I also think that sometimes spiritually, that feeling of overwhelm is not really fully embodying grace.
Yeah.
It's not embodying that Jesus paid it all, that like his blood was enough, like that
Yes.
he paid the price so that we could have this relationship, and that God loves us so much that we cannot earn it. Like
at all.
Doing more, being more, checking more box, like that doesn't make him love him less. And then I think the other flip side of that anxiousness could be, or feeling overwhelmed or anxious spiritually, could also be like, maybe I've done too much. Like maybe my sinfulness, I've done XYZ and I can't be in relationship.
Yeah.
And both of those, whether it's I'm too bad or I need to do more to do good, like both of those extremes, like take grace out of the equation and they try to earn God's love. Yeah. And that's what I feel like.
And that's just not it.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
I feel like I struggled with it, especially going to Christian school, where like everything I was learning stopped being like heart knowledge and it became head knowledge. So it's like, okay, if I'm not reading my Bible, I'm not a great Christian. If I'm not praying, I'm not a great Christian. Yeah. And it was like, okay, I have to do this, do this, do this, do this. And God, like me and God are tight, but it was like, I like knew God, but I didn't have a relationship with him.
Yeah. We actually, Virginia and I graduated from the same high school, obviously many, many years later, but I do think it's what is the word? A caution. I don't know, the right word's not coming to me, but I do think there's so much behavior modification that is spiritualized. Like someone that I know that works there, I heard that he was like telling the kids, like, I just don't understand. Like it had to do with the dress code. Like if you love God, how you could do that. And I was like cringing, like, oh, that's not what they need. Yeah. Here. Like it's okay to have a boundary and it's okay to have a dress code, but like, let's not conflate behavior modification with grace or God's love. So part of my testimony is I was in Christian school my whole life, very involved in the church. I went to a Christian college. I went into ministry in my early 20s, and I think it was like around age 20, I think 23 or 24. But it was the first time that I got that taste of true grace. And it was the first time that I heard, you can't do anything to make God love you more, and you can't do anything to make God love you less. So sometimes there's almost like a hazard, if you will, of being a part of Christian cultures, and kind of mixing education, mixing behavior. And I do believe, like Jesus talked about, like abiding in him, he says, you will bear much fruit. Yes. So I do think that our life can reflect God, and there can be things about how we live, but I don't think that if a 15-year-old doesn't have their belt or doesn't have their shirt all the way tucked in any way that reflects God's love for them or their love for God. Like, so that I do think there's that danger sometimes in the culture or a Christian culture of like making someone younger in their faith feel pressure, feel that anxiety or that being overwhelmed. Like, I need to do more, or, oh, I've done this thing that's so bad. How could I be in a relationship with God? So that's cool. That was a really cool thing that you shared. Looking at your generation, where do you see God moving in a way that maybe my generation or people older than my generation, like we might not be seeing it or we might be missing?
Yeah, I think we see a lot of people who have an interest for God, who want and long for a relationship with God. But as you said, we have those two big polar opposites where it's like, I've done too much where God is not going to love me. And it's I'm not doing enough and God's not going to love me. I feel like we just need people who like can show them grace and like show them what true love from God looks like. But I feel like we have a lot of people who are now coming home, returning home, saying, okay, I want this relationship with God because they've seen their friends be transformed. They've seen parents be transformed, or if they've encountered God by themselves. Like I remember being on a mission trip and I was like, okay, I'm here. Great. I'm a great Christian. I'm great pastor's daughter. I'm on this mission trip. And I remember we were sitting there and we like sang this song that was on the board the first day. And we all raised our hands. I was like, they have me in a cult. I don't know what this is. Get me out of here. And then we were singing and we were worshiping. And I was like, what in the world is this? These people were crying. I was like, this is dramatic. And I remember one day we were singing, and we're actually talking about abiding. And I hit the floor crying, bawling out, because I actually experienced what the love of God looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God loves me so much, and I never had to earn it. Like, I can't earn it. Like, there's no way for me to earn it. It's a gift, and that's so beautiful. So I feel like we have people realizing that and then going out and telling everybody. Like, we have such a boldness in our generation when it comes to Jesus. Like, I know this, and I want everybody to know it. And I think that's something that's really beautiful. But I think we also need like people to come alongside us and disciple us in it. Because I feel like we know a lot and we have such a boldness, but we need to kind of like learn a little bit more. We need people to like hold us accountable, come alongside us, walk alongside us. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Virginia, I am absolutely loving this conversation. To our listeners, we are going to actually continue this conversation. So we're going to wrap up today's episode, but next week we'll have more conversation with Virginia Boyd, specifically on her faith and her journey, but also spiritual formation and what that looks like in Gen Z and her season of ministry preparation and what God's doing, not only in your story, but also in your generation. So thank you so much for being with us today. This has just been a wonderful conversation. I'm so excited for part 2. For our listeners, I do want to thank you for joining us. I hope this has been a really great episode for you. And I'll just kind of close us out with a blessing, the Arianic blessing from Numbers chapter 6. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you. The Lord give you peace. Until next time, I'm Virginia Kujabi, and this is The Formed Life.